Hello everyone, back again. We got video number 4 in the works right now. Alright, so today was pretty interesting. Still going along with it. Got maybe one more stop. 1, 2, 3. 3-ish more stops probably, technically, but one really important stop. So that's cool, getting that out of the way. Alright, so I'm trying to get people to understand, like, things that are around them, how to identify what's a part of an agenda, what's garbage, entertainment, type deal, why something's happening, how things are fake and whatnot, and how to identify how they're fake. One of the big ways to identify if something is fake is if you have a lot of information about numerology. There's something called Gemetria, which is basically the decoding of words into numbers. And in the most simple sense, you take A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, all the way to Z is 26. And you add those up, and that's how they correspond with events and whatnot. Because everything pretty much in this world, on a big scale, if it's on TV, if it's being pushed by the news and whatnot, it's there for a reason. And it's not there for any good reason. You catch my drift. Basically, I'm going to go into a lot of different things because my mind already went on to about 3 or 4 different things while I'm just starting. So I'll try to remember all of those. Basic numerology will get you pretty far. You can look out for the numbers such as 33, which is the Freemasons' secret society, high level, quote unquote, where they learn, over 30th plus degree. The Freemasons, which are in every town, it's the Masonic temples and whatnot. The chapters are in every town and whatnot, and people travel and whatnot, and then they go and meet up and so forth, and they read their books like Morals and Dogma, written by Albert Pike. Recommend looking into that, and then type in like Lucifer the Light Bearer or anything like that, where it specifically talks about how the Masons, once they get to a 30th plus degree, they learn that Lucifer's the light bearer and so on and so forth. Because if you can't figure it out, everything in this world is inverted and whatnot. So the people that control and all that, they're into all the satanic, occultic, Luciferian, evil type worship and belief and whatnot. And everything that's wholesome and good and biblical and that type of deal is made a mockery. And then that makes other people not want to be involved in things like that, because they make the people that portray quote unquote Christians or whatever you want to say look like jokes. They're weak, they don't stand up for themselves, so on and so forth. It's nothing new, but that's where a lot of people get led astray. And there's even truthers or whatever that like to mock things that they don't fully understand. They're really good at one thing, but they're not good at something else. So then they blame, one thing or another. Like they'll call like the Bible a joke or whatever, which I don't know how that's even, like how are you really even a truther at that point? This is a guy specifically that he's got really good stuff on numerology and whatnot, but I would say that a lot of people are probably turned off from him because of something like that. And it's actually a shame because he does really good work, but then he's overly prickish to people and so on. So I try my best to not be like that. But long story short, I touched on numerology and stuff like that. Numerology, basically just look at numbers in front of you. Look at where it'll say something 666 or 36 or 63 or 999 or 33 or 13 or there's so many different ones, but those are some obvious ones that you're going to see. Obviously 666 is the mark of the beast. It's in the Bible, Revelation 13, 16, 17, about you must take the mark of the beast to be able to buy and sell, so on and so forth. The mark of the beast likely is going to be an implant that goes into the arm, and it's not going to be necessarily forced in the sense that people think. It's more of, you're not able to buy and sell without this, but we're not forcing you. you die or you go along with it. So in my opinion, that is forced. I'm not, there's really no two ways of debating that, but okay, sure. But yeah, that's what this is all about. Once you understand the top level mindset, you'll understand every little detail under it and why things happen and so on and so forth. So I'm hoping to get a lot of content out on this stuff. So like I said, the Freemasons, 33 and whatnot, there's a chapter in every town. You can look it up. Just type in Masonic Temple. And I guarantee there's one in a town near you. Probably in your town if you're in a big enough place. And these people, they do pretty much gay rituals where they get on their knees and they put swords to each other's throats and say, you tell our secrets, we come and kill you, da-da-da-da-da. And these people are serious about it because they're protected, all that kind of deal. Like I said, once you understand the top level and whatnot, which we'll get to at some point, once you understand the top level, you'll understand that. They're controlled and whatnot. Masons is a quote-unquote low-level secret society. If you're a Mason or you know someone who's a Mason, they're probably a low-level Mason, have no idea what the heck they're actually doing because they don't let people go to the high degrees and whatnot. Once they get to the high levels in Freemasonry, up to 30-plus degree, then they can branch out into other secret societies like the Jesuits, the Rosicrucian, the OTO, the Golden Dawn, Scientology, etc., etc. They go into those, they'll learn other things. These are the people that are picked, I emphasize picked, not voted, not anything else, for high positions, such as maybe your local mayor or your local governments, your high police people, your high government people like the presidents, quote unquote, and they play a role because they know the plan and they're going to go along with it. You can look into the Georgia Guidestones where it talks about the population must fall under 500 million and we're at 8 billion. And you can look into Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger, Ted Turner of CNN. Bill Gates suddenly is the advocate for everything healthy and whatnot, but yet all he used to do was make computers and whatnot, and he was known for being rich. So we can go into Bill Gates too about how he's involved with human fertilizer. After someone dies, he wants to teach people how to fertilize people's dead bodies because these people are into all that kind of stuff. They're into death and murder and so on and so forth. So Bill Gates is the same guy who's buying up all the land, all this different nonsense and all. He's played his distractions many, many times over. He has a big foundation and whatnot that seems to be all for everything good, and not to mention his dad was the creator or whatever on the board of Planned Parenthood, which is the reason why women don't have children and whatnot anymore and stuff like that, and all the different injections and chemicals and different things that all of those people promote, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get into that later. Ted Turner of CNN, if you've ever seen anything involved with CNN or CBS, it's the most garbage, waste of time nonsense that you'll ever see. About apparently men can be pregnant. No, they can't. Not real men. They cannot become pregnant. That's scientific fact. Deal with it. And we don't know what a woman is still. I thought I understood what that was, but man, I tell you what, they pull something new over at me every day. So they're into that whole gender, all that type of stuff, changing people's genders and everyone being passively okay with creeps running around in the opposite bathroom and around children. Not to mention a lot of them have a lot of history. They get out of jail and stuff for offenses, we'll just say, of perverse kind, especially with children, and they get around children and whatnot. You can look into the history of like RuPaul's Drag Race, where RuPaul has talked about coming after your children and this and that, and there's so many different things with children and perversion and quote unquote diet, and I'll say the phrase cannonballism. Cannon, to get rid of that algorithm. You don't want good old Susan shutting us down. That pawn Susan at the World Economic Forum. YouTube CEO. I bet she's listening too. She probably loves me. Too bad you look like Nick Cage in drag, but that's neither here nor there. Probably are Nick Cage in drag. I haven't heard of him in a while. Maybe that's where he went. You never know. These people are weird. They could definitely be playing multiple roles. Anywho, she's not a national treasure. That's for dang sure. Anywho, we'll go into the numerology. Okay, so basically anything that divides people in any way, shape, or form. So, basically, quote-unquote social agendas or whatever. Anything that has to do with taking away rights or dividing people. That's anybody's opinion, the lack of having an opinion, any scripted event, such as bang, bang, events, quote-unquote, that happen. And they suddenly happen all at once, not to, not anything suspicious there. Don't think anything of that, because, you don't see that ever, but when it needs to happen, when we need to get rid of those certain devices that make that bang noise, then suddenly all these events pop up, and they don't let people buy the artillery and so forth, and the devices for hunting, for protection, because once everybody doesn't have that, the governments can come in and do whatever they want. You can look at the history of many, many nations and whatnot. You can even look at somewhere like Australia now, where they set up this mentally retarded kid, and he went to jail, and he's supposedly a mass offender, even though there's factual proof that he couldn't have done it. You'd have to be one of the top people in the military, the army and whatnot, which we can get into that too, about how they're controlled and used and what they're taught there, and how they mind control them. And I mean literally mind control, mess with their brains, Joseph Mengele style, MK Ultra mind control, that kind of stuff, like what they supposedly, what they did back in the day, in the 40s of that event that you're not allowed to question. The Hollywood hoax, and what a cost that was. Yeah, if you catch my drift. Yeah. Many things about MK Ultra, many things about other things. I'm just trying to hit on some things. You hear phrases that you don't know, put comments down, and I'll answer them about what I'm talking about or what have you. You can always look up any of the words I'm saying, and you'll find some stuff. Of course, it's mostly scrubbed from the internet, because YouTube sucks! But, otherwise, yeah. Besides that whole situation, they can frame anybody. They have so many people's DNA, and they're watching and listening it all the time. All the time. They're listening now. I'm being recorded. Why does every device have a camera on it? Why does every device record? And then you can take that back all the way to, what do you want to say? Like, I remember Nintendo DS had that in, 2006. You think they don't have that beyond now? And imagine the probably 30 to 50 years they're ahead in technology that we don't know about. They have the Mark of the Beast technology and all that stuff. We're basically in that already, where you can go somewhere and you need a phone to do anything, to get your menu at a restaurant. I want to see them bring me text this number for your menu, or look it up online for your menu. I'll say kick rocks and leave, and that's what I'll do. And you can take that to the bank. Jacob Rothschild, Federal Reserve. Speaking of banks, Federal Reserve runs everything, really, amongst other groups and corporations and whatnot. It's, like I said, it's a very deep subject and whatnot, but I know their game, and a lot of people know their game, and that's the funny thing. So many people are understanding how nonsense all this crap is, and they're calling it out, and they're not going along with stuff. So, we got to keep going on this. I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Whatever information I can get, people to understand, that's going to be a start. It's going to be a good start. Okay, so other things that divide people. Anything they talk about on the news or TV, even passively or subtly. If they try to say something if they say something is good, it's probably bad. If they say something is bad, it's probably good. That's how the occult, Satanism, whatever you want to say, perverts, evil scumbags, psychopaths, whatever you want to say, whatever the phrase you want to say is, for that. Those type of people are into. As for more ways, the whole taking away of rights or dividing people, like, there's a couple rights that that we have that we probably shouldn't have, or maybe not shouldn't have, but I don't agree with, and I think people are mentally insane for believing in it, such as termination of children's lives before they're born. You know, there's so many people, they don't understand about depopulation, the occult, and what they do with these leftovers and so on. And, you know, they eat that kind of stuff and do things with blood and put it on their bodies, and fecal and urine and all that kind of stuff. These are some sick people we're talking about. They don't have to be right out in the open like that and say that kind of stuff, but a lot of them, they're either involved or they know about it. So to me, that's still guilty. If you know what's going on and you're not speaking of it, so on and so forth. You can look into the whole feminist agenda about, you know, you can go into victim shaming, you can go into men versus women, black versus white, races against each other, nationalities against each other, languages against each other, men versus women, opinions, you know, the quote-unquote fake liberal versus Democrat division. I mean, there's so many things to divide people. There's nothing that really gets people on the same page, though, and that's exactly the point. That's a mind control type mindset. They're messing with people's minds like that. There's so many. There's a good start, though, for part 1. I'm at my destination, so let me go check out what we have going on in here, and hopefully part 2 will be out by, I don't know, hopefully I'll get a new video recorded by 1 o'clock or so. Alright, bye then.